Okay. Get a cough out the way with immediately. So, last night I got to watch Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair, for the very first time in my life. And I kind of want to talk about it a bit. For those who do not know what Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair is, it's basically the entire story of Kill Bill put into one. There is an extended anime sequence in it. There's a fight scene that in the original film was changed into black and white because of how gory it was. And in the whole bloody affair, it is kept in color. And it's just kind of the whole story of Kill Bill as originally written by Quentin Tarantino. I watched Kill Bill Volume 1 for the first time. And that first go just blew my mind. Kill Bill felt so grand. Like, even just Volume 1, the first film, felt so grand. And like, oh my God, so much is going on in this. And I just remember watching that film for the first time. And again, feeling just the fun, how fun it was. The action, that crazy 88 fight with all the blood and just all that stuff. And also, I come from a background of loving Asian entertainment. And I grew up loving Jackie Chan. I watched a lot of anime. And Kill Bill kind of like took all of like what makes that cool and just threw it into a blender and just like lit on fire. And then I remember at the very end of that cliffhanger of Bill going like, does she know her daughter's still alive? And then credits hit. That was like oh my God. This must have been how people felt after the end of Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, he's his father. With this one, I was like, holy shit, the daughter's still alive. And I stuck on Kill Bill Volume 2, and I wasn't as fussed with Volume 2. I remember thinking the energy of Volume 1 was not there in Volume 2. There was just a lot of slow moments. It felt a bit much more over the top compared to Volume 1, but without the pizzazz of Volume 1. So I remember for the longest time that I was always just like, I love Volume 1. Kill Bill Volume 1 is like one of my all-time favorites. And Volume 2 is good. It's good. But I don't need to watch it again. But then that like moves me on to talking about Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. It's his newest thing that's out. It's been a thing since 2006, but it's been very limited. He's shown it in LA a lot of times. I'm sure there's been other like screens in America and maybe in London. I don't know. But as far as like a wide release, the whole bloody affair has never been like a thing. I'm like scrolling on like what's like search like what's on for Showcase Cinema in Teesside Park. And I see Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. And I'm like, is it going to be here? And then I typed it in for like, is it going to be playing at Teesside Park? And it was. So I bought my tickets. And on 3:30 on a Friday afternoon, I drove to Teesside Park, went in, sat and watched Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. And what do I think about it? Well, I absolutely bloody love it. I mean, I knew what I was getting into in the sense like, well, I know I love the film. I know I love this film. I'm not watching a new Tarantino film, but I'm watching it how he intended this story to be. Obviously, there's a lot that's still the same. It's not a big re-edit or like, there's not like, they didn't shoot new footage or anything like that. It's stuff that was all shot back in there. There's an extended bit in the anime sequence, the Oren Ishii origin. And what that is it's another scene. Oren Ishii's parents get killed by a Yakuza boss, and then we cut to her killing a Yakuza boss. In the original cut in Volume 1, we see her kill the Yakuza boss, and then we cut so many years later to when she's like in her 20s, and now she's an assassin. What is now added into this extended anime sequence is that Oren Ishii's parents get killed. Oren kills the Yakuza boss, but then we get another scene of like 2 years later of where she kills the other assassin that was involved in Ishii's parents' assassination. Again, it's not massively long. It's a scene that's set in an elevator. I think what that scene adds in actually really nicely is because without it, we just kind of see her like, and now she's all of a sudden a badass, like as a child. But that scene in particular, the newly added scene in the anime sequence, is that there's she's 13, and yeah, she can kill the others, but then there's that one assassin who's kind of like, I've still got your number. It adds a little bit more of like a vulnerability to Oren. Obviously, and then the next thing that's different in Volume 1, scene-wise, is the Crazy 88 fight is in colour. And just on a side note, that fight scene still is absolutely stunning. I know the Crazy 88 fight is great. I know that's a phenomenal scene. It's one of the best scenes in cinema history. But seeing it on the big screen, because that's also another thing. This is the first time I've seen Kill Bill in the cinema. And there is just such a magic and such an energy that this film has. And I mean, I don't hate the black and white in it of when she snags someone's eye and then it turns black and white. I still think that's a pretty cool stylistic thing. Obviously, in this sequence, it happens and it's still in color and it's still beautifully gory. The thing is with the Kill Bill gore is it's so over the top and it's like fountains of blood. It's not realistic at all. It's not like visceral. It's not a visceral blood. It's just a cool image. And apart from that, I don't think there's much else added to the whole bloody affair. From my memory, Volume 2 is pretty much untouched. There's some things that are taken out. And I understand why, as a part of the whole bloody affair, they don't make sense. Obviously, at the end of Volume 1, the film from 2003, it ends with Bill. We hear Bill go into Julie Dreyfus's character, I forgot her name. And Bill goes, does she know that her daughter's alive? And then credits hit. Whereas what's interesting about the whole bloody affair is, like, he doesn't say that. It's just, like, that's just left. And then we go to an intermission card. So there is a split. There's an intermission in between each part, which works, thankfully. Which makes it even more interesting that the whole intent, obviously we know this now because we've watched Kill Bill. But the way it was originally written, the way it was originally presented, was that, like, we were not meant to know that Beatrix's daughter was still alive until Beatrix Kiddo finds out. As one piece of film, that makes a lot more sense because we still have this, like, we're still with the bride in the sense of, like, she's getting vengeance. She's getting vengeance because not only did she attempted to be killed, but also her daughter, her baby, was killed as well. So we go through this hours of her being like, I'm going to get revenge, to then see that moment of, bang, bang, mommy. If I didn't know that, that would play out phenomenally. Granted, I understand. I mean, I don't know, man. The original cliffhanger ending of Volume 1 of Bill going like, does she know she's still alive? That leaves such like a, oh my God, what? Like, you need to you need to go and watch Volume 2 because that's such a pipe bomb of a plot point. But also there's part of me that feels like, imagine if we didn't get that. Because I guess, like, the drive would be more so like, I want to see Beatrix kill Bill. That would still be the intrigue and the pull to that film. And the other thing that's not in the film is that obviously at the beginning of Volume 2, we have Beatrix driving the car and she's kind of catching us up. And she's like, and I'm going to kill Bill. That's not in the whole bloody affair. The first half ends with Bill talking to Julie Dreyfus. The intermission card hits. And then when the intermission comes back, we're at the wedding rehearsal. And we're just in it from then. And it's a nice flow back in. Again, I don't need the bride to tell me what's happening. It's like, I know I'm watching it. I've always been very much more so, Volume 1's amazing, and Volume 2's good. And there was part of me that was worrying that, like, with watching the whole bloody affair, that am I gonna be so like, yeah, I love the first half, and then, oh my God, the second half is so slow. But the interesting thing about this is with Volume 2 as a part, like, to watch it all as the whole bloody affair, I think I like Volume 2 a little bit more now. Like, I don't know if I would like it still as a standalone. I think I like it a lot more as a second half of a film. Because we get this, like, high energy, visceral, like, violent first half. And then by the time we get the second half, there's a bit more of like there's still that rage, but there's a little bit more contemplation. The first half is violence, killing, action. And then the second half, we then get an understanding of who Beatrix is, of who Bill is. With the two films joined together as one big film, I find the segments of when we get like, and now we've got the Vivica A. Fox section, now we've got the Lucy Liu section, now we've got the Daryl Hannah section, now we've got the Michael Madsen section. It all feels a lot more deliberate and a lot more focused. Whereas a lot of the times, again, especially in Volume 2, I remember at the time being like, fucking hell, we're hanging a lot on Michael Madsen here. In the format of watching it all as one big film, we've had that anyway, so I'm more used to it all. I'm more used to stopping to learn more about Bill, or stopping to learn more about Bud. You're now watching it and experiencing it as like, oh, this is an epic martial arts revenge film. As opposed to like, I just watched one really cool, badass first film, and then a slower second film, a slower sequel. Nah, but like, as like one big film, you're like buckled in, and you're settled into the fact of like, I'm watching. It almost feels kind of anthology-esque. Like, we have, like, that first opening bit of, like, it's kind of blaxploitation action. And then we then get into the Orenishi, where then it feels, okay, now we're in, like, a Yakuza crime thing. And then we get to the second half, and we're a bit more like, oh, now we're in, like, a Western. The whole bloody affair as one big film feels a lot more like a love letter to action pulpy cinema. Uma Thurman as the bride might be the greatest female acting performance of all time. I mean, she was one of my all-time favorites from Volume 1. And then I never really like properly thought about her in Volume 2 for the longest time because, again, for a while I just wasn't that fussed on Volume 2. But in watching it as the whole bloody affair, there's a lot of moments in that second half that I'm like, she's amazing in this. Again, there's like the things I think and remember about when she sees BB, where she sees her daughter. That moment is stunning. There's the moment at the end of where she's crying on the bathroom, which is amazing. There's the whole sequences where she's getting trained by Pai Mei, which is just one of the best martial arts training sequences, I think. It's funny, but again, now I think that was also another thing, because I wasn't that fussed on Pai Mei in Volume 2. I was like, this feels like a sore thumb. It feels a bit too cheesy and corny. But again, in the context of all of Kill Bill, you're used to the kind of cheesy, over-the-top nature that is included in Volume 1. But in Volume 2, there's not a lot of it. It's like Pai Mei's the only silly thing in Volume 2, so it feels a lot more out of place. But again, as I said, combined, the tone is consistent. I find Bill a lot more sympathetic now. For a long time, I was like, what a bastard of a villain. He means well, but he fucks up majorly. And he's not a good guy, but he loves Beatrix. And then he becomes a very jealous man. He's like, kill her. But you can feel the love between Bill and Beatrix in this film. And then by the end of it, they all, there's this moment where it's like, well, one of us has to die, and they both know it. But then when Beatrix hits her with the, it's not the five-finger death punch. That's not what it's called. But when she hits him with the kill shot, which is a great moment narratively from what was set up earlier, to what is carried over. But then that happens, and he knows he's going to die, and she knows he's going to die, and you can see she's sad about it. And then he stands up and he takes the 5 steps and he falls. And for a long time, again, in context of only watching Volume 2, I thought, I felt a bit daft and silly. But in the presentation of watching it as one big film, it works so much better, I think. It doesn't feel silly. It doesn't feel daft. I think it's because we're there for a long time. So we are kind of waiting for it to end. So it's a lot more of a satisfactory death and ending than when it does. There's a lot more shades of grey with him. I think it's like because everyone's a killer. Because Beatrix for a long time to me were like, Beatrix is good, everyone else bad and evil. But it's like, but Beatrix was one of them at one point, and all of them are just people who either do still kill people or they used to kill people. They're all really flawed, fucked up human beings, and Bill just so happens to be the leader of that. So with all that being said, is the whole bloody affair the way to watch Kill Bill? I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, if there is ever a point of where this gets a physical media release, the whole bloody affair might be the only way I watch Kill Bill from now on. Volume 1 is amazing. And it's still amazing as the whole bloody affair. Still amazing as the first part of the whole bloody affair. But the whole bloody affair really makes Volume 2 a lot more richer. It doesn't feel poorly paced. It feels very deliberate and intended in relation to the grander scope of the narrative. So for me personally, yeah, the whole bloody affair is kind of the definitive way to watch the Kill Bill story. And God, I hope it gets a physical media release. Because I'll be buying that instantly. And yeah, man, I'm just so happy that I finally saw Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. Thank you all for watching my discussion and thoughts on Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. That video is actually a cut down highlighted version of a 54-minute version where I went into more depth about my thoughts on the whole bloody affair, as well as I discussed my fandom and history of being a fan of Quentin Tarantino and my thoughts on his more recent comments he's been making in the press about his fellow contemporaries. If you wish to watch that video, you can find it on the RNQ Patreon. That is patreon.com/RNQ, where for £2.50 a month, you can have access to all full episodes of your memoir. Link is in the description below. Until next week, I'll see you later.